John had always been curious about his withdrawn neighbor, Mr. Thompson. The old man rarely ventured out of his house, and his garden, once lush and vibrant, had fallen into neglect. Weeds choked the flower beds, and the fence leaned precariously, as if the entire property was resigned to decay. Yet despite its forlorn state, there was something about Mr. Thompson's garden that captivated John. But before we start, smash the like button and make sure to subscribe if you haven't, and hit that notification bell so that you won't miss any new stories. On a particularly rainy day, as John looked out of his window, he noticed an unusual object standing in the front garden. At first, he dismissed it as a figment of his imagination, but as the rain eased and visibility improved, he realized that the object was indeed real. John's curiosity piqued, and he found himself squinting through the downpour to get a better look. His face turned pale and his heart raced when he recognized what it was: a garden gnome. But this wasn't an ordinary garden gnome. Garish colors clashed violently against the muted palette of the surroundings, and its twisted grin sent a shiver down John's spine. The gnome held a small, weathered scroll in its outstretched hand, a scroll that seemed out of place in the hands of such a kitsy ornament. Compelled by an inexplicable urge, John grabbed his raincoat and ventured outside. Up close, the gnome's malevolent expression was even more unnerving. John gingerly extracted the scroll from its grasp, half expecting the gnome to come to life and snatch it back. Unrolling the parchment, John's eyes widened as he deciphered the faded ink. Netzi, the message was cryptic, a riddle that seemed to lead to something hidden, something that had been buried and forgotten. The words on the scroll hinted at an event that transpired decades ago, involving someone named Amelia and a lost treasure of great significance. The more John read, the more he realized that he had stumbled upon a puzzle that could potentially unravel an unsolved mystery. His curiosity was now tinged with a growing sense of dread, but he couldn't stop himself from delving deeper. Days turned into nights as John immersed himself in the riddle's enigma. He scoured local history archives, questioned the few elderly residents who might remember Amelia, and pieced together fragments of a story that had faded with time. One night, as he pored over old newspaper clippings and faded photographs, a knock on his door jolted him from his thoughts. It was Mrs. Henderson, the town's unofficial historian. She had heard of John's inquiries and came bearing a weathered journal, Amelia's journal. "Be careful, John," she warned as she handed him the journal. "Some secrets are better left buried." Ignoring her caution, John eagerly flipped through the pages. Amelia's words painted a vivid picture of her life, a life fraught with challenges, heartbreaks, and a relentless pursuit of a dream that society deemed unfit for a woman of her time. As John delved deeper into Amelia's story, he felt an eerie connection to her. It was as if her spirit was guiding him, urging him to uncover the truth. One stormy night, unable to shake off a feeling of foreboding, John decided to confront Mr. Thompson. The old man had always seemed to know more than he let on, and John hoped he might have some answers. As he approached the decrepit house, he noticed that the windows were dark, and the air around the property seemed colder than usual. And knocking on the door, John was greeted by silence. Undeterred, he tried the handle and found it unlocked. The door creaked open, revealing a dimly lit hallway. "Mr. Thompson," he called out, but there was no response. Cautiously, John stepped inside. The house was a labyrinth of shadows and dust-covered furniture. As he made his way through the gloom, he stumbled upon a room that seemed out of place, a study filled with old books and artifacts, much like his own collection. And on the desk, amidst the clutter, lay another scroll. This one was newer, its parchment unmarked by time. John unrolled it, his hands trembling. The message was brief but chilling: "The truth lies beneath the willow." Heart pounding, John left the house and made his way to the garden. The rain had stopped, and the moon cast an eerie glow over the willow tree that dominated the yard. Digging through the muddy soil, John unearthed a small, rusted chest. Inside, he found a collection of letters, diaries, and personal mementos that painted a vivid portrait of Amelia's life. The discovery was both awe-inspiring and horrifying. The letters revealed a secret that Amelia had kept hidden, an affair with a prominent local figure that had ended in tragedy. As John pieced together the final fragments of Amelia's story, he realized that the true value of the treasure lay not in its material worth, but in the way it connected generations and illuminated the strength of the human spirit. He faced a choice: to share the treasure's contents with the world, honoring Amelia's memory and the lessons her story held, or to let the secrets remain buried, preserving the tranquility of the present. In the end, John chose to honor Amelia. He carefully documented her story, ensuring that her legacy would live on. And as he repositioned the garden gnome, he couldn't help but smile, feeling as if Amelia herself was watching over the garden with a knowing and grateful heart. The revelation of Amelia's past sent ripples through the community. Some were shocked, others were moved, but all were touched by the story of a woman who had dared to dream in a time when such dreams were frowned upon. As the weeks passed, John noticed a change in Mr. Thompson. The old man, once a recluse, began to venture out more often. He even struck up conversations with neighbors, sharing snippets of history and anecdotes that had long been forgotten. It was as if the revelation of Amelia's story had breathed new life into him. One afternoon, as John was tending to his own garden, Mr. Thompson approached him. "Thank you, John," he said, his voice tinged with emotion. "You brought Amelia's story to light, and in doing so, you gave me a reason to live again." John nodded, understanding the weight of those words. In the years that followed, the garden gnome became a symbol of resilience and hope. Visitors from neighboring towns would come to see it, drawn by the story of Amelia and the treasure that had been hidden beneath the willow. And every time John looked at the gnome, he was reminded of the journey that had started with a simple curiosity and had led to a profound discovery. One chilly autumn evening, as John sat on his porch reflecting on the events of the past few months, he noticed something peculiar. The garden gnome, which had always faced the willow tree, seemed to have been turned slightly, now facing the direction of John's house. A chill ran down his spine, but he dismissed it as his imagination playing tricks on him. That night, John was awakened by a strange noise coming from the garden. Grabbing a flashlight, he cautiously made his way outside. As he approached the gnome, he noticed that the scroll was missing from its hand. Panic set in. John scoured the garden, searching for any sign of the missing scroll. His mind raced with thoughts of what it could mean. Had someone else discovered the secret? Was there another mystery to unravel? Just as he was about to give up, a soft whisper reached his ears. Johnny spun around, shining his flashlight into the darkness. There, standing beneath the willow tree, was a figure ethereal and faint, like a ghostly apparition. It was Amelia. Her presence was both comforting and unnerving. She smiled at John, a look of gratitude in her eyes. "Thank you for telling my story," she said, her voice like a gentle breeze. "But there is still more to discover." Before John could respond, Amelia pointed to a spot near the base of the willow tree. With trembling hands, he began to dig. As the earth gave way, he uncovered a second chest smaller than the first. Inside was another collection of letters, but these were different. They were written in a language John didn't recognize, filled with symbols and codes that made no sense to him. He took the letters to Mrs. Henderson the next day. Together, they worked to decipher the cryptic messages. The letters spoke of an ancient order, a group dedicated to protecting knowledge and secrets. Amelia had been a member, and her journal hinted at a treasure far greater than personal mementos, knowledge that had the power to change the world. The discovery sent shockwaves through the community. Scholars and historians flocked to the town, eager to study the letters and uncover their secrets. John found himself at the center of a whirlwind of activity, but he remained grounded, always remembering the humble garden gnome that had started it all. As the years passed, John became a local legend, his name synonymous with discovery and adventure. He continued to explore the mysteries of the past, always guided by the spirit of Amelia and the lesson she had taught him. And every time he looked at the garden gnome, he felt a deep sense of connection to the past, to Amelia, and to the endless possibilities that lay hidden beneath the surface of everyday life. To the endless possibilities, the garden gnome had become a symbol of hope and curiosity, a reminder that even the most ordinary objects could hold extraordinary secrets. In the twilight of his life, John had often sat by the willow tree, reflecting on his journey. He had uncovered many secrets, but the greatest treasure he had found was the sense of purpose and connection that came from uncovering the truth. The garden gnome remained in its place, a silent sentinel watching over the garden, a testament to the enduring power of curiosity and the unbreakable bond between past and present. And as the sun set on the garden, casting long shadows over the willow tree, John felt at peace, knowing that he had honored Amelia's memory and uncovered the hidden truths that had shaped his life. The journey had been long and sometimes perilous, but it had also been filled with wonder and discovery, a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit. Jew Tree